keep.
Yes. Yeah. It looks more like. Oh. Beep boop. Beep boop 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 boop. We love to podcast.
I finally watched the new episodes, or the episodes of Roni with the new cast.
Very controversial. Very upsetting for some. An emotional thing.
It's a little emotional for me.
How so?
I don't know. I think they're just they're trying a little too hard with like the PC-ness of it all.
You know, I hate a try hard.
Right. Oof. And it just like seems a little, not like manufactured, but.
Well, they're probably like, yeah, they're putting on a persona. They're minding their P's and Q's. It's not organic. It's not.
Are any of them wives? Do any of them have kids?
Oh,
their kids haven't really been mentioned.
Literally, so I watched 2 episodes and I still can't even remember their names. So
Jenna has a
bring up their name.
Jenna has a kid.
I don't even think Jenna's there.
She's from J. Crew.
Oh,
J. Crew Jenna. It's easy to remember.
J. Crew Jenna.
Yeah.
Her boobs are always out.
She said she had some weird skin disorder where this is the only patch of good skin.
She's like, it's also right next to my tits.
Right, yeah. It's like, that's also my excuse.
Funny. But, okay, Jenna, that's her name. I'll remember this now. Jenna, she has a son.
Right. She was married to a man.
Right.
Not that 2 women can't also have a child.
Right, but this is kind of like they take a little bit to get into that she's now only dating women.
Right.
And then I think the Psy girl, she has 2 kids.
She's the Instagrammer.
She's an influencer.
Right.
Oh, aren't we all?
It's
oh my God.
It's usually you go on a show and then become an influencer, right?
I know.
So like, why is she able to influence? What's her influence?
Right. I think it's clothing and like beauty products.
So she's just pretty.
Well, yeah. I mean, all these girls are pretty for sure.
But like, that's what she does.
Right.
Okay.
One of them said, I don't remember, so I don't know all of their names yet, which is probably
There's a Bryn.
There's a Bryn. Oh yeah, she's the pretty one.
She's the very pretty one.
She's very pretty.
She's the one who's not super friendly with Aaron.
Which one's Aaron?
The blonde one.
She's also very pretty.
Who's very sensitive about food.
Yes,
everyone keeps dissing her about her food choices.
She's the crybaby. She's also very pretty. She has like 3
She's also
kids.
very bossy.
Oh, she's very bossy. I know. She's
Yeah, she probably has a gaggle of kids.
She has 3, I think. She's Jewish.
Of course. That's why I like her.
But Sai, her husband quit his job to just basically be her assistant. They don't say it that way, but she's like, he takes the photos. He's retired. I was like, well, I mean,
maybe. Was he on like Wall Street? He gave up.
I can't remember her name. I definitely don't know what her assistant husband did. He doesn't even know what he did. He doesn't have an identity anymore.
So he stopped working during COVID, and now he just takes pictures of his wife.
Right, and
her purses.
Does her like dry cleaning. Oh. I mean, God bless.
Someone has to do it.
Right, and then there's Jessel, who hasn't had sex with her husband in 2 years.
Since she had a baby.
Yeah, maybe 2 years is
and everyone thinks that's weird. She feels uncomfortable
having sex. That's a whole other. We can come back to that.
Postpartum sex.
Yeah, I have never had It's twins that she had.
I can't even imagine one baby.
No, you're not really feeling yourself when yourself is all stretched out and like.
But it's been a while. Right. And then there's another character.
Uba.
What? She's funny.
She's gorgeous.
She's the one who went to the restaurant and stole a can of beans or something.
that would be like literally us. I'm hungry. Feed me.
Yeah. It's because Aaron wasn't giving them the right food. Again.
Right.
She's the one who also wanted to go to the grocery store because there was too much caviar and Pringles.
Uba did. Yeah, she wanted a sandwich. What's interesting to me about Aaron is that she had if I'm understanding this correctly, because it's hard to kind of like, it seemed as though I was catching every other sentence of what was happening on the first episode, even though I had closed captioning on and I watched it several times. I still didn't really understand everything.
It was very fast paced.
It was very fast paced.
It's the first time they've ever introduced a whole new cast. So like we have no one to be the Greek chorus to explain it to us.
And it was just like an onslaught. I mean, I don't know if they were super like nerved up, but I was like, wait, what is even happening now? All I know is that Aaron had them all go to a location that is no longer cool. It was only cool in 2006, possibly 2005. Right. Somewhere around there.
And one of the only time Bravo has ever blurred the name of the place.
I love
which
that,
is like, you know, really protecting that brand.
Right, until everybody Googled it and found out what the restaurant is.
For sure. But, you know, that still takes one extra step.
Right. It's funny because old Roni would have done that.
Of course. They had no production.
Yeah. Very interesting, like,
why it was so good.
Mishap there. But they had to keep it in because it was, like, part of the storyline, I think. That definitely there's a thing between Aaron and Brynn.
Right. Even though, so we were talking about what astrology matchups make the best makeup of a cast, right?
Okay,
like the best dynamic.
So that's where we're supposed to be.
But the two of them don't really have much issue.
No. So I'm thinking, this is my theory, and we've been talking about this. My theory is that to make a great cast on Bravo, we're just going to use just Bravo right now.
Yeah. What is a great cast? Drama.
Yeah.
Fighting.
Yeah.
And also kind of coming along to have a really good time.
Right.
Because everyone can kind of put it aside when they go to Mexico and it's all fun.
Right. So I'd have to say that you need the fire signs, a fire sign heavy cast that is
so
one
an Aries,
step apart. Yep.
A Leo, a Sag.
Yep. You need to have your party people. Those are the fire signs. Also, you need to have your water signs who are super sensitive crybabies.
Like Cancer, Pisces.
Yep. And Scorpio. Yeah, so the feelings, my feelings are hurt. Right. Oh, you know, she doesn't understand me. Oh, I got dismissed.
Right. She didn't say thank you enough.
Right. She didn't like the food. She didn't like the cheese I had. This kind of stuff. That is part of that creates the drama.
Right.
Now, where I've also seen it kind of interesting, we're looking back, you and I both are looking back over previous successful long-running casts would be the previous Roni.
Right.
It was like too good to be true. Casted. Oh my God. I mean, it's almost like you could never cast again that way. I would even say that it trumps, it trumps them all. It trumps New Jersey, OC, Beverly Hills. They weren't the
first franchise, but they were the first franchise to be successful.
Yeah, it is definitely a dynamic of arguing. One-upmanship, I think.
For sure. And just pettiness.
Oh, so petty. I love
So petty.
I love that. That's
You'd invite me to dinner. I'm going to kill you in the press.
Right. That's also a other layer of like going to the press. But in the old Roni cast, you look at it and it is a lot of oppositions. The same oppositions repeated. You have Luann and Kelly Ben-Simone at at Taurus. And then they're pitted against, or it's just a natural way of opposition is with a Scorpio. So we got
because they're opposite signs on the calendar on the wheel.
Yep, we got Ramona and we got Bethany. We got our Scorpios versus our Tauruses, and it goes just like it's like a seesaw or like a tennis match. They just cannot find a.
What's oftentimes.
Where am I supposed to be putting it?
Just keep it a little closer.
Oh, closer. Okay, I'm sorry. Should we talk more? Should we go back over it?
No, I'm not even in the frame.
Oh, okay.
That was our producer, Jamie.
Hi, Jamie. We love you.
Right. I mean, you can see that immediately with Ramona and Luann at first, or that first season, because Luann was the countess and really into like manners,
money, and yes,
and Ramona had kind of like no class,
yes,
according to the countess, because she was late which was like the huge drama of the night.
And she does not care about
right.
it. Yeah, she doesn't care about doing things the
Emily
right
Post
way.
Right.
Correct.
And then the second one, the immediate one was Kelly, Ben Simone, and Bethany. Like they just were never speaking exactly the same language.
Yeah,
they
but
just never
there was
spoke.
That one fight that they had in the bar that was just boop, 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 boop.
Well, right. It was you're here and I'm
here.
You're here and I'm here. Right.
And it's like they could never reconcile that. And I think that is what makes the drama.
But it's because they're so opposite that they couldn't see the other's point of view, or like they were just speaking different languages. And so it just made for great television.
And they just
hated each other for literally no reason. Like there was no reason.
I find that to be the natural inclination when I'm with my opposite sign, is I just don't know what it is about them, but
which is what?
Pisces.
A Pisces.
Boop, boop.
Yeah.
Love you all, Pisces. But when I interact with a couple of them here or there, I don't have a lot of them I have no best friends really over the years that has been a Pisces sun. And I'm sure everyone's going to come up and be like, oh, I definitely have a best friend that is my opposite sign.
Could be.
There's exceptions to every rule. I'm sure in the big three of the rising, the sun, the moon, there might be things that offset it and make it a little bit easier to deal with. And some of the Pisces that I do have friendships with now, we do have compatible moons or compatible risings. But there's always just this sort of like we're on opposite sides of the fence on almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes for great
TV.
Great TV. Now, if you don't have that, like if you think about
if everyone gets along, or if everyone's boring,
right? Then there's just you can't even create it.
Right.
You can't mix.
And what's funny is they try to sometimes create the drama, and you can see that it's manufactured, it's inauthentic, and so it's just also then more boring.
Like I think the Roni cast whatever season that was, the last season that had Leah,
13,
Ebony,
14.
I don't know all the signs there, but everyone knows the season was cut short because literally they couldn't keep up ratings, and it was just a garbage fire. It was a dumpster fire. Nobody was watching it.
But again, the most drama was probably between Luann and Ramona.
Hurting the brand, honestly, to have people so disengaged with probably the most popular of the Bravo franchises.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just like, they just cut it short, which is kind of crazy. Just be like, no, you're put on pause.
Yeah.
And then they came back with a whole new cast,
mm-hmm.
which is such a slap in the face. To the old cast.
They're also old.
I also also have to think, doesn't that make every one of the old franchises, all the the mainstays, the OGs, aren't they all kind of shaking in their boots a little bit?
They should be. Everyone's replaceable.
I know, and some people really don't think they are.
Ramona, there's no way Ramona thought she was replaceable. There's no way Luann thought she was replaceable.
I don't know why I love that Vicki Gunvalson didn't think she was replaceable, but she's just like such a mess sometimes. I mean, she's great TV. But
I know,
like,
but honestly,
really,
I don't think she actually is replaceable because that show has been awful since she's left.
She's like the one. She's the only fire sign on that
Shannon
cast.
Are Aries.
Oh my God, I know Shannon's
so
great
they have
television
fun,
too.
and they scream at each other.
And now
it's crazy. I mean, they're like throwing plates at each other.
I love
on that show.
in public.
Yeah, like it's insane, but it's great TV.
It's a good point because look at the cast now.
Boop,
you
boop.
have
Just like,
you have
like us.
Gina.
It's like just a bunch of Virgos.
Gina. You have Heather, Earth sign.
Boring. Really rich, but boring.
Really rich. Who else is on? Can't even remember the rest of the cast.
Tamra.
Tamra's. She's trying to claw her way back. She's
in
Virgo,
a creative, ridiculous
I think
drama.
She has two. I think she has a fire rising. I know she has a fire moon. But it feels inauthentic
Taylor
to me.
Armstrong.
Oh my God, Taylor. She doesn't count for any season.
And then the new one, the yoga instructor. Oh, and Emily.
Emily. Oh my God, I forgot about Emily.
I kind of like Emily all of a sudden because she's just so kind of to the point and not very nice.
That's true. She's
awesome.
a lawyer. She's just like, boop, boop.
She's like, you didn't say that. Get out of my face.
I know. I do like that. I do like that. I'm a little overshadowed right now with Emily taking the Ozempic.
I haven't actually seen what she looks like now, but she's very pretty.
She's gorgeous face, gorgeous hair.
She's a little bigger than everyone else.
Right, but I didn't think there was a problem with that. It's kind of weird that it's
probably a pressure thing.
It's a pressure thing.
She's in Orange County. Even if she wasn't on a show, she's in Orange County.
She held up for a long time though.
But I don't think she's a lawyer anymore, so I think she has more time to.
I think she is though.
I think she's still.
He is.
He's a lawyer now.
But he was just a stay-at-home dad.
I know. I think they switched.
I don't know. When I rewatched it, I think she was just like, he was the house husband, and now we're both at work.
Oh.
She just thought.
And now her daughter's at work. She's 7.
Right. She was used to just being like, do this, do that. And he had to because he had nothing. Yeah. His self-worth was hanging on by a thread. I don't know how many times he took the bar, but it was
more than once. For sure, more than once.
I think more than 3 times. But
it's the kind of lawyer you want.
I mean, he's diligent. He kept at it,
Yeah, he never gave up.
Don't give up.
He never gave up.
So that I think definitely the wrong casting.
Right. So circling back to this new cast, right?
Yeah.
There's Erin's a Cancer. She's a water sign.
Because she's
so sensitive about food. But in particular, her sensitivity is always around food.
It is. You don't like cheese. You didn't like the restaurant I went to. You didn't like the caviar.
You don't eat Pringles with caviar. You don't.
Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I mean, if she had real problems, I don't know what she would do.
I don't even think they liked the restaurant they went to in the Hamptons. By the way, half the cast is sobered. Have you noticed that?
Who's sober?
Half the cast doesn't drink. So Jenna from J. Crew doesn't drink. Then a couple others don't drink.
I don't know. I thought
only 2 or 3 ladies had a drink at dinner. So that also makes for a bad cast.
Yeah, I will say.
No offense to, those struggling with
right. Okay,
addiction.
There's a time and a place. I think if you're going to be okay, so case in point, Gina, she is no longer drinking and
she looks good though.
OC, she looks great. But Gina didn't bring a lot to the table to begin with. Probably the only time she was funny was when she was drunk. I'm not condoning drinking to make yourself be fun. But this is the entertainment industry. So
if you're not fun, get off the.
Yeah, I'll just watch myself.
Right. Yeah, that's why we do this podcast.
So I think you need to bring something to the table. So if you are unwilling to get very drunk in public or on television,
right? You can't have your guard up, right? And so, just drinking in itself lowers the guard sometimes just low enough that you can do something so crazy and insane that you'll get 100 followers or 100 million followers.
There's a fly that keeps coming by my face. It's because I smell so good. But I think there was something that Camille Grammer said back in the day that she's like, the cameras start coming into the house and you're very uber aware of them. You're like, the cameras are here. What am I going to say? Mind what I'm saying. She's like, but all of a sudden one day you just don't care anymore. And she's like, and that's when they've got you.
Right. And that's when you become better, probably.
Right. When you just don't care. That's when our podcast will get better too. When we just
forget there's a microphone right here.
And we just say whatever's on our mind.
Yes. We're heavily edited. We're heavily editing ourselves.
Right. Just balls to the wall.
We don't want to make a mistake.
So scary these days.
I know.
Don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah. We don't want to get canceled before we start.
You're wrong.
We at least want to be canceled after 100 episodes. Then we can be canceled.
Oh, well. But I definitely think that that's the moment when you just forget about the cameras. And I don't know, it's the good point that you're kind of bringing up, is the new Roni cast. They're aware of the cameras. They were there wasn't that weird kind of awkward,
well, they're not actually friends.
Are they not?
I doubt it.
They said that they were, but I can't believe anything.
For us, they say that for our benefit, I'm sure. But like with like the first Roni cast, they all weren't best friends, but like they knew each other. You know,
Jamie's helping me with my microphone.
I'm not in your frame anyway.
Oh, you're not?
I'm only your frame right now.
Oh no!
I switch it when I'm.
What are you doing down there? Wait, it's so low.
You're right in front.
Well, I don't want to break it because it's like I don't know.
We're editing this out.
Of course.
We can cut.
Yeah. Anytime we rub our noses.
Wait, can you tighten it? Oh yeah, because it's like it kept falling. Oh, like this? It's like really in front of my face, but I'm into that.
Well, you really only want like about like that far away. So if that's where you're gonna be, I also want out of your frame. So just be mindful.
Mm-hmm. I've learned from my mistakes from the past one.
What happens is like you get
evolving
really close, and then you say something like, and when you're 6 inches away, it's half as loud. So it's like that's why. Next time I'll make sure you both have headphones. Not headphones, but in your
earbuds.
In your earbuds or whatever. That way when you can hear it, you instinctively like notice it more.
Okay, my love. It is. No,
100%.
you're very good. He has Mercury and Venus in Virgo, so that's why we get along with Jamie so well.
Oh, same.
Same. It's a Virgo party here, even though he doesn't think it is.
Right. So looking back at the cast of this new show, right? So there's one Cancer. So I have all their signs up right now.
I gotta look at them
so
too.
There's a Cancer. There's a Fire, Sag. There's right. There is Water Moons. So there's a Scorpio Moon, right? And then. Virgo, Libra, Taurus are probably a little boring since they're both one's a double Taurus. But
yeah,
I don't even remember her, to be honest. Who was that one?
Who?
The double Taurus.
That's Jessel, the one that hasn't having sex with her husband.
Well, she's boring.
But
then, to prove your point even more, you have Jenna, right?
Yeah.
So she's a Gemini, or she has a Scorpio moon.
Mm-hmm.
What's the opposite of Scorpio?
Taurus. So her and Jessel probably
are probably gonna butt heads, right?
That's the great triangular. They're like right in that.
Right, and then she's also butting heads because Gemini. What's the opposite of Gemini?
Is Sagittarius.
Right, Psy, which is actually kind of funny because her moon is Gemini.
That'll help mitigate some of that.
But they're gonna bump heads. And what's funny is they probably will bump heads. Because one's an actual fashion designer.
And one's an influencer.
Right. There can't be pure mutual respect just professionally, right?
No. I mean.
It's like owners of restaurants, designers, owners of brands understand the role of an influencer, but they're like the vein of their existence.
Right. It's such a weird thing. It's like the new market, it's like the new PR publicist.
Right.
Yeah, it does feel a little hollow. Like, okay, yeah, they're wearing the products, they're promoting the products. It's sort of like a symbiotic relationship, but also might be a little parasitic too.
Right. We'll find
out.
So already it does kind of have the ingredients to be a good cast.
It's
just awkward because no one's from the old cast to like help them through it. So they're kind of just swimming in open water. What's it?
Right. It did well. It did better. When I sat down to watch it, I was on the defense.
Right.
And it was very soon that probably in the first 10 minutes that I didn't feel as defensive, which I was surprised by.
I just think it's a different show. I was more defensive when I kept calling it Real Housewives of New York, and then like when you kind of put that to the side, it's just these are just kind of 6 women or 5, however many.
Right, and everybody wants to know how they live, what it's like.
We don't really know how any of them live, except for Erin, because we went to her house in the Hamptons.
Right,
Otherwise,
and she had her family over for Shabbat dinner, and they all seemed actually very normal. I don't love any wives, the husband doesn't work and doesn't have his identity, and now he just watches the kids. That makes me feel uncomfortable.
That's not Aaron's family, is it?
No, I'm sorry, that was Sai. I was like looking into Sai's life. I'm sort of like,
I don't know. I mean, it's a luxury to have a single income family, to be part of a single income family.
Why not have 2?
Sure. I'm saying it's a luxury, though, to someone.
Yeah, why doesn't he still go to work and maintain his own identity?
Maybe he day trades.
Well, that's true.
His kids are in school, right? Like, he does something during the day. Maybe just watches basketball.
It reminds me of? It's a little bit like, what's the old couple from Brooklyn?
Simon and Alex?
Yeah, I know he
was a GM
I know
of a
he
hotel,
worked or something, but something about him didn't work.
Yeah. Well, he thought he was one of the girls. He thought he was on the show.
Oh, God, he's so good.
It's like Joe Gorga thinks he's on the show. Like,
I love Joe Gorga.
I know, but it's the same.
I love him.
But it's the same type of deal, right?
Yes, but there was something.
He thinks he's a cast member. He's not.
I know.
Wife is.
I know.
Like, why does he have so much free time to do these silly boys things with Big Frank?
I love all the men on New Jersey. You cannot come for them with me. I love them.
I'm not coming for them specifically.
Right. I know what you're saying, that there is an overly involved husband.
Yeah.
He's searching for the spotlight a little bit.
Right.
But Joe, I love him.
Like Bobby's Aaron was a good housewife husband.
Oh, my God.
He just let her do whatever she wanted.
R.I.P.
And he went to
That's
work.
the way all husbands should be. He's just like, couldn't
Very
be bothered.
supportive.
Yeah. And then he probably goes and he has his own like persona and his own life. But like in that moment, he's just sitting there and just being like,
yeah, do whatever you want. Take the private plane to fat camp. Do whatever you want.
The PJ?
Yeah, the PP.
The PP.
She calls it a PP. You either have a big PP or a little PP.
That
the famous line. First line.
That
First
PP.
season. Yeah.
Oh my God. I remember her little chihuahua was always pooping.
Ginger?
Ginger was pooping over everything and just licking her inside the nose. Some of that
it was
stuff.
real.
I know.
That's
missed that.
Right. That was so good. Like
no one's tiny chihuahua is licking inside their nose.
Also, you don't see anyone just sitting in bed in like their PJs.
It's
like
they got the
glam squad came over.
Okay, you know
they've
what?
Done their hair. They've gotten fresh Botox. They're wearing ball gowns to lunch. Like, it's very inauthentic.
I don't like the Beverly Hills cast for that. Dorit is gorgeous. I love her fashion sense.
But no one wears what she wears to lunch.
I just don't like her having a glam squad. It goes against...
This is supposed to be real life, even though everyone knows it's manufactured, but like, try to keep the illusion that it's real.
I think they're losing like the...
like cred.
The cred, or just like the sort of... I'm sure they probably still have the viewership because like, it was a whole like Girardi thing last season. But like, there's just something
Speaking
that just
of Glam Squad, she spent $40,000 a month.
Oh my God!
Glam. Well, she did.
She's on the
before her
Ozempic
husband went to jail.
too. She lost all that weight.
But right,
I'm uninspired by that group too. I love Lisa Rinna. You and I are one of the few things we disagree about. I love her because she's great television.
She outed someone on national television.
She's so messy. I love it.
Yeah.
Who else is part of that cast?
Kyle.
Kyle's my favorite.
Love Kyle, but she's been on a journey from rags to riches, or riches to riches.
Which I love that.
Right. I like that story.
I love that. I love her, and I love the girls.
But again, I think the original cast was better. That first season, they all looked a little normal.
Oh God, yeah.
Right? It was Lisa Vanderpump.
Kyle had those teeth.
Lisa
they all
Vanderpump
had those teeth.
Was so good looking.
Yeah, teeth like normal people like us.
But the drama again that season there was no like big deal drama. It was like, oh, you didn't invite me to tea, and it still worked. You know, when people didn't have glam squads, they just kind of especially Kyle. Kyle wore a muumuu in every scene.
Also, think about it. that Kim, for so long, nobody wanted to say anything about her, her journey through
addiction. And that would be the first thing someone would point out now.
Within 15 minutes,
you would be... want to drink? Oh, wait, you're an alcoholic.
Right. Instead, everyone was like...
And they made it all the way to the last episode.
They really... And it's just like everyone was like protecting.
And they actually still protected throughout the... Mm-hmm. But then you got, who else was on there? Adrian Malouf, whatever. Taylor, whatever.
Taylor.
But Taylor did have a compelling storyline one year.
I'm not at all laughing about the fact that her husband commits suicide. That is atrocious. But
it's crazy that they kept filming. And
I have to say that even that couldn't really secure her spot on the cast.
She was fired the next year. I mean, again, I'm not laughing at that.
Right, I'm laughing at the absurdity of like if
that
you're
wasn't enough drama.
Right, your husband can hang himself in a closet, and they're like, you still don't get asked
we still
back.
Can't find a storyline for you.
She
found him hanging in the closet.
Can you imagine? They're like, just not enough. You're not interested in dynamic
Let's bring
enough.
In Brandy.
Oh,
which is a good addition. But.
Now Brandy, I think, is done for maybe forever now that she touched.
They tried to bring her back.
Caroline Menzo's.
What's her sign?
She's a Scorpio.
Moon?
I don't know her moon. I know she's a Scorpio.
Caroline is a Virgo Capricorn, like us. So I was wondering if they had some weird opposite thing.
I just think that if you're a Virgo Cap like we are, but you don't have a fire sign rising like we do, you're probably not a lot of fun. Like
not
Carolyn.
Good for reality TV.
Yeah, like Caroline. Caroline. Sorry.
Boop.
Boop.
I mean, she was the crux of that show, though, for the first year. Just
because everyone was so
was
scared of her.
To her. Right. It was her. It was her family show plus Teresa.
Right.
Who I guess was like family at the time.
But still, it wasn't enough to keep her on there because she's boring.
Right, and Teresa is not.
So I also believe that to put Caroline Manzo on the what are these trips called now?
Like the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip.
Yeah, so they put...
There's like been 4 of them or 5, or there will be 4 of them or 5
You
of
put
them.
her with...
Brandy,
who is... I would... I know I can't make some grand sweeping generalizations on someone's behavior, but she is an alcoholic if I've ever seen one.
Sure.
Or she drinks drinks too much on camera.
On an empty stomach, probably. And like...
she
just is so explosive. And it's at some point entertaining, and then it crosses the line to cringe.
Right now, you're looking at her like, oh,
like,
what is she doing?
Talking.
You know, and we've all been there. We've all been there, but
it's every episode.
Ooh, yeah.
When she threw that drink in Eileen's face for not acting out a scene that she was in on TV.
It's wild.
It's insane.
And then she slapped Lisa Vanderpump on the face, and everyone's like,
of all the people not to slap.
You've been overserved.
I think she may have been more sober in that scene.
I don't think so. I think maybe, I don't know if it's her anxiety that she just, or maybe she doesn't think that she's compelling or funny enough unless she's blackout.
Well, she was the underdog, and she was coming off a really difficult situation, right? With her divorce and whatever.
Which I think is really messed up.
Right.
I entirely.
Maybe though you say to yourself, maybe this isn't the time to go on reality TV. But also it is the time because she needs a paycheck.
Right.
Leanne Rimes, I don't think gives her much money.
Leanne Rimes.
Right? Isn't that who her husband's married to?
Can I just also, on just a tangent, is Leanne Rimes Instagram?
Does she have a very large forehead, or am I thinking of someone Lambert?
Something about her face is not entirely.
Does she have a scar? I'm trying to visualize her. She's on like Hallmark movies sometimes. I know she's a famous singer, but like.
I don't know what you're picking up about her face entirely, but maybe all of those are right. Maybe they're not right because she's just kind of innocuous. Also, actually, she is a Virgo Capricorn. Leanne Rimes.
Very successful, though.
Yeah.
Just not a lot of fun.
Not a lot of fun.
Brandy was probably too much fun for her husband.
Her Instagram to me is so cringe. she wants to paint this. This is how Instagram is just so foul sometimes. It's like really painting the portrait. I'm so happy.
Oh, for
my
sure.
marriage
like when
is.
your Instagram only has pictures of you and your boyfriend or
Oh
girlfriend.
my God.
It's like
Her and Brandy's ex-husband, now her husband. But
Right.
there's like, oh my God, I love you. No, I love you. Oh my God, I love you. Oh my God, I
Right.
love you. And she's like, oh.
No one loves like that. You can't love like that.
No. And she's like, oh, the best day ever. And she's like in a little hat, cowboy hat. And she's like in a little bandeau top. And she's like, I'm like, I'm like, that is not, it just, I mean, it can be your life sometimes, but like when it's
not
just,
every day,
it's
right.
like inundated on there and just.
But like we're also guilty of
begs the
putting only
question.
you only put the good pictures on.
yeah.
Your life always does look better.
Of course.
But like so inauthentic is like, that's what makes something cringe.
You know what I have found? This is city specific. Okay. Actually, I can only think of one city that I know kind of negates this.
Atlanta.
If you look at a lot of people's Instagram in New York and Brooklyn, it's
just random people.
Just random people.
Yeah.
You look at their Instagram, and it's almost like they're trying to be the antithesis of the happy person. They're like taking a photo of their cat, a flower pot, like out of focus teacup, like them in a towel getting out of the shower. It's just like, it's this like grab bag of nonsense. And they're like, they tagged it at like some Brooklyn coffee house. And they're just like, look at this pebble. Right. And then it's very strange. And I find that.
Well, it's like everyone moves to Brooklyn and wears black because they don't want to be like everyone else. And so then everyone.
Right. It's a nonconformist conforming to the nonconformist. Right. And then all their Instagram is like, oh, I don't want to be like pretty and perfect. So all their Instagrams is like,
right.
just.
So none of you are pretty and perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Even though you're all very pretty.
Jamie, the sun has just come down into my face.
I know, I can see that.
Do you have a big hat?
Hold on.
We
Let me see what I can. There was like.
Can I get up for a second?
Yeah.
If we're doing
5-minute period when it was on Jake's face, and now.
Oh, they're good astrology matchups. Opposites.
You need the game of opposites.
Right.
So.
I mean, we go back to Luann and Ramona. Are like an iconic, matchup. They hate each other.
And they go just like.
They go head to head from day one until the.
You know what this is? Alexis leaves the door open and they come in. Oh, sorry. They come in from the patio.
But they're all living next door.
Of course they are.
On that fry later.
I know.
They're just.
And then over here they're like, what's going on over here?
Right.
Listen. So I'll tell you,
Luann
the thing of opposites is something, unfortunately, sorry, Mom, I have 3 oppositions, oppositional aspects with my mother. And our moons are opposite.
And how do you two get along?
Not very well, but we do because we love each other. Our moons are opposite. Our Venuses are opposite. Our Mars are opposite. And we cannot agree on truly anything. And it's truly that we cannot agree. I mean, but there has to be a thread, of course, with every opposition that you're basically on the same polarity. It just, you're taking one very extreme view versus the other very extreme view. So it's, in the case of my mother, we have opposite moons. She is a moon in Cancer. I'm a moon in Capricorn. She is very emotional. And when it suits her, she's emotional to the extreme. When it suits me, I'm insensitive to the extreme. Like cut off, not willing to listen, and we'll just battle each other. Every day we're just teetering.
Right.
But then when someone's going to go to battle, it goes, foo, foo, foo,
right.
And it's just, it makes for...
Good TV.
Good for TV.
A good audience at Shays.
Because also, there's no resolve except for someone just basically agreeing to disagree. Which if you've been drinking or it's a very emotional, heightened issue, you will not let go. but that's the only way.
It's funny though, right? It's so because like when you're an opposite sign of someone, you're actually probably supposed to learn the most from that person, right?
Sure, yeah.
Because you're exact opposites. And so what
you're
you
two
lack,
halves of a whole.
Right. So what you yin and yang, right? What you lack, that person has. What that person lacks, you have.
Yes.
And if you can't figure it out, you can't figure that part out, and then there's no patience, because that would then create patience, right? Or understanding.
Totally.
Or empathy or something.
And
when you don't have that, because you're just a housewife on the show, and you want drama, you don't care about the mutual understanding or the mutual respect. You just have found that you have this person that just always gets under your skin. Right. And it's great TV. It's just...
The interesting thing I found with my mother is that one of us will back down at some point. We'll battle each other. Sure. And then we get kind of tired and we just fizzle out, which is great with... There's a gal in front of the window. Hi.
Yeah.
It's great for just an endurance. Like, how long can you fight each other until one fizzles out, right? Or what's upsetting about the whole dynamic is that you're just actually stopping the fight because you're so tired or exhausted or just...
You gotta go to bed eventually.
Disenchanted with the whole thing. But you've never really learned unless you really then the next day be like...
through it to learn.
Right. Like you really need to make a point that even though the discussion or the fight is over, that you can try to see the other person's point of view. But I think these fights can be so extreme sometimes that then the best way to deal with the person the next day or going forward is to just not bring it up. Just let sleeping dogs lie.
Right. But you can't do that on TV.
Right. And they'll come up again.
Ratings,
right. Yeah. So that's the way to deal with opposites.
And none of these people, they've known each other for 15 years now on the show. They're like coworkers. They still haven't ever learned that, right?
I know. I wish I could like talk to them and be like, "Hey,
but
guys."
But don't, please, because it's good TV, and that's why like their fights are epic. There's so many Instagram memes about the two of them. There's so many. They're really like Luann is so condescending to her. The only thing Ramona cannot stand in life is when someone is condescending to her.
And it just
and they just go at it. They call each other bad moms.
Oh my God, I know
moms.
It's insane.
They say that they're in open marriages. They say that their husbands are cheating.
Yeah, they go. They're
so below the belt.
They go below the belt because the point, like, because it's so opposite. You're not a little bit on the polarity on the spectrum. You're not here. You're all the way over here. So you're like, what more can I say to get the person to like? What do I need to do to get my point across? It's not going to get across in a heightened situation. So throwing they're
always drinking.
Right. You know, the things that are below the belt, that's what I think they think is going to stop or trump the fight, but it never does. It just...
Or maybe they know that because they're opposites, which means they're actually fairly similar, that they actually know what's going to get them. And that's maybe why they say it.
Right. Maybe it is.
Because I know you so well, because we're two halves of the same whole. I know what will needle you, not
right.
you, but you know,
I know what you mean.
Someone.
Yeah.
And if I'm in a really fighty mood, I might say those things.
I think you can't stop yourself.
For TV.
I'll
say it for TV.
For TV. I think you can't stop yourself in the case of my mother when
she goes below the belt.
Yes. And I go lower than I normally would. Sorry, Mom.
But you don't go below the belt.
But
I've seen you guys have a knockdown, drag out.
And we've gone out. But she's the more emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so her, like, you know, being
she seems like the more
Cancer, a Cancer, an Aries. She's more willing to say these things where I'm like, the Capricorn, Libra part of me is keep it PC, keep it fair, keep the emotions down. My mother's like, let's torch it.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's nothing wrong with either stance at some points, but like, I also feel like you can't help yourself. I can't help myself sometimes with my mother. And I think that's the opposite sign, is that you can't help yourself because normally in a situation like with my mother, I would stop and I'd be like, you know, this is getting a lot out of hand. But the opposite,
Right.
that opposition.
Like when you and I have had a couple
Mm-mm.
dust ups,
yes,
we can stop in the middle of it and be like, let's pump the brakes. This is ridiculous. A, because we're most likely bored.
Right.
What we're fighting about because it's very
it doesn't even
dumb.
matter. Yeah.
Right. Right. But like we both have the wherewithal. And it's so funny because I also have the wherewithal with everybody else except for really this one friend of mine who is the opposite side of me.
You can't
and it's
help
like,
it.
I'm very tight-lipped with everyone else.
And you
but
can
with
keep
this one
measured, yeah.
person because it's like this, it's that same.
You can't help yourself.
Right.
And I think that if going forward, if they're going to transform some of these older casts, like for sure, I think the New Jersey cast needs some. I don't
It's
think
just
all
not
of
fun
them
anymore.
Yeah, but I think there needs to be
Like their
some
families
more...
get ripped apart on that show.
I know. It's like that's what's really kind of.
Like Caroline Manzo doesn't speak to half of her siblings.
I know it's
Teresa
really.
doesn't speak to her sibling.
I think they need.
Even
I don't.
the new girl doesn't speak to her sibling.
Oh yeah, that blonde.
Yeah.
Oh
Was
my
it Danielle?
goodness. Yeah.
Or something like that? Elaine?
She literally. I hate to put her on blast about this, but I also believe that there's a. When you go onto these shows, a plastic surgery, I think, is really important to just be very transparent about it. But then I also think there's a fine line on also encouraging you to get plastic surgery when it's not entirely necessary. There's like a fine line. So she was just on her Instagram.
Who?
I think it's Danielle.
Oh, her. Did she get plastic surgery?
She got a tummy tuck.
She looked great, didn't she?
Correct. Now, this is my own personal.
It's
this
her
is my.
insecurity, right?
I totally agree. It's my personal opinion, but then I was reading some of the comments, and it's like, I don't know. It's a little.
Instead of going on Ozempic.
I know. I guess there's not. No one can win in my opinion, but I just really think that it's okay if you have a couple of wrinkles on your belly after you've had children.
It is, right, but it also isn't because I think it's a catch-22. You're going to get dragged either way.
Yeah.
You're going to be told that you have cellulite. You're going to be told
That's
that you have
true.
a wrinkly stomach.
Yeah.
But if you fix it, you're then going to be like
Right.
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
It really
And
is.
so
They're
kind of whatever makes you feel good,
I guess
is what you should
yeah.
do. But the Housewives, especially in Jersey, take everything just like one step too far.
They spray tan
So much
too
tan.
much.
The couches, none of them can have white furniture. Like it's crazy
Right.
town.
The extensions are too much. Like
Teresa's hair, weighed 30 pounds for her
They're
wedding?
just like, I don't know. There's something that like the insecurity is a little bit more heightened there, which I just don't understand because all these girls are gorgeous. Honestly, they really are.
But you're getting picked apart online. Not everyone's your fan. And especially, so when you have a housewife with opposite astrology of another housewife, there are then teams of fans.
Oh,
your
of
team
course.
Luann, your team Ramona. You can't
that's a
really
very
like
good
them
point.
both unless you're just like, oh, I like the television they create.
That's a good point.
And so if Ramona gets, one too many jobs, all of the people who love Luann pounce on it. Ramona's people pounce on Luann for her ridiculous cabaret show, which is
awesome.
very funny.
It's serious.
You're either
it's
team
a serious
Bethany
business
or team not Bethany.
Well, and that's a great point that I have found watching over the years. A study of one of the really big fights that happen with all of the women is that one of the very serious fights that happen among all of the women is that
what cast?
Across all the franchises. If there are two women who are arguing, you want people in your corner to also fight for you or defend you.
Right.
That's one way. Okay. And then there's also, I can take care of it myself. That's a very, I would say Aries versus Libra. Now, for me,
Aries would be the one that wants supporters.
Yes.
And Libra is the one
Even if it's irrational, you will
ride or die.
Ride or die. That's Aries.
Yeah. I like ride or die.
No questions. You stop liking my friends' posts. You stop going to my friends' events. You don't talk to them anymore. Then you got Libra. I don't really care. Like, I'm gonna keep talking to them. The drama's not between me and her. It's between you and her.
Right.
So
right.
It happens amongst all of the franchises. And
remember Lisa Vanderpump and Kyle?
That's
all
a huge.
Lisa
and
Vanderpump wanted was for her to stick up for her.
And she's got a Scorpio moon. She wants that rider. Scorpio is very ride or die on that. Kyle has a Libra moon. She's not going to do it.
Right. And
not
all
gonna do
she
it.
wanted, that was actually kind of the crux of their falling out, right? She
But
just kept saying, all I want from you is when someone's talking shit about me, you defend me. And Kyle is like, okay, and could never do it.
She'll never do it.
Right. But that's why.
So it's like
she has that Libra.
They're both just not accepting one another's personality, being like, she will never do that because she doesn't like confrontation.
Right. So then you have to stop putting the expectation on that person.
100%.
Even though, again, that's funny because, you talk again about who has to be the accommodating one.
Who doesn't have a power?
Someone just in every relationship, no relationship is 50-50. Someone
all the time. It goes vacillates, yeah.
Right, exactly. So someone has to accommodate sometimes, the other person has to accommodate sometimes, and you're hopefully in a relationship that kind of ebbs and flows that way.
Yeah.
I accommodate you on this thing, and then you accommodate me on something, and but right.
Some people are naturally more accommodating.
True. Virgos.
Yeah, all the mutable signs are naturally more accommodating. So we got mutable is Virgo, is Pisces, Gemini,
Sag.
Yep, those are mutable signs. We're all
funny.
We're not willing. Nothing. We're willing to be malleable in situations, but then we have we have the fixed signs, the cardinal signs. They're just not going to move. And I will say, as being
what's Capricorn?
As a cardinal sign. For myself, I'm more mutable. I think maybe by one planet, and then the rest are cardinal. And I will capitulate. I'll capitulate. But I'm not really keeping track. But if all of a sudden I'm done capitulating, you better know that it's done. And when I say it's done, I'm
very similar.
It's done.
Right.
Don't
I'll keep saying yes. I'll keep saying no problem. We'll do it. We'll do it your way. We'll do it. And then when I kind of just think about it for a minute, the last time you asked me to do it is the last time.
Right.
Because
and
if you're not also accommodating, if you're accommodating in other ways, then yes, you can feel the balance. But if you're not, that's just like it's just
it just doesn't, I think, and you might get me the next week, I'll be more accommodating again, but I think that
you hit a wall,
and I think that happens with some of the mutable signs on.
So that happened with Lisa Vanderpump and Kyle.
They're good. And then they're like, oh my God, this came out of nowhere. Well, it did come out of nowhere, but maybe you were being too dominant and domineering for a long time. And this one person, they just got sick of it. So now they're trying to recalibrate, and they're like, oh, you're trying to recalibrate. That's bullshit. Well, no, that person is just inserting a boundary, and you need to sort of adjust. I'm sure if the friendship or relationship is strong enough, it's all fixable. But
everything's fixable, really.
Yeah, you shouldn't take it as now they all start kind of ganging up against each other, or you're saying, getting on teams, or.
I mean, even what was Jill's sign in relation to Ramona?
Jill Zarin she's a Sagittarius with a Gemini moon. Jill Zarin, right?
Right. And what's opposite of Gemini?
Is Sagittarius. She's born around a full moon.
So, okay. So she's not really opposite of Ramona of anything, is she?
No.
Remember, they did play the Team Jill, Team Ramona.
Yeah,
up. But I think that was just probably
for the show. I think.
Also, remember when they always had charities?
Oh my God, they all
had like a the season finales were always charity events, and they were like helping underprivileged.
Now them themselves are just a charity.
Right. They got paid.
They're like, come to my Hamptons house and just like
New
look
York
around
Housewives
and like appreciate me.
What, $7,500 for the season?
Wait, was it?
Housewives first season got paid $7,500 for the season.
Oh my God, I never knew that.
And they still put on charities for other people because that wasn't their source of income.
Right.
Now it's their source of income.
This was just like to elevate, their status and like maybe some of their interests.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe bring awareness to those charities.
Because
half the season 2 was going to those charity meetings because Bethany and Kelly hated each other and they were always at them.
Right. Which is also another Bethany versus Kelly Ben-Simone is another Taurus versus Scorpio.
Yeah.
I love that one. Because they really could.
Here.
Right. You're here. I'm just like, okay. So good. But I think that now people that have any kind of social status do not want to be associated with the Housewives in that way.
They didn't even before, really.
Yeah, it was a gamble.
But I'm just saying.
Now, if you're on a board of something, you're sort of like, oh,
right. Like those women, except for maybe the Countess, we're not on the board of the Met. We're not on the board of the Historical Society. We're not on the board of the American Natural History Museum. Like, they were just wealthy women.
Right.
In the Upper East Side. They weren't socialites the way Vanderbilt's not going on that show.
No, because it's trash. I'm sure that's what they think. But
that's why it's good TV. It'd be boring if it was just a bunch of Vanderbilts and Rockefellers having tea.
Right. And also, like, who are you, Vanderbilt? Like, like pinkies out. Like,
that's what I'm saying. That'd be boring TV.
Yeah.
Because they would always know the cameras were right there.
That's what I love about Sonia Morgan. Blessed be. She is a Morgan, but she gets wild and she doesn't care. I know she's like now not even once removed, but just married.
Divorced. A Morgan divorced.
Yeah. But
her daughter's a Morgan.
I think that also had what people liked about the first season, I believe, is that you were really getting like to go behind like the doors of the townhomes of the brownstones that you looked at.
Even like the opening sequence for Orange County was such a good one because it was the gates.
I remember that. Oh my God, I forgot that.
That actually is intriguing. What does lie behind those gates?
Because
what are those people's lives like?
Yeah.
Because that's what everyone wants to know.
Right.
How does that half or 1% live?
Right. I just think now it's a little different, but I do think...
But also New York, everything's like there aren't gates like that in New York, right? And so like
or there's like the social groups or whatever,
right?
Yeah,
but like that illusion. I mean, like anyone can go and stand on East 71st and Park. Not everyone can go into the gates of Coda, whatever.
Oh yeah, oh my God,
that place was in Orange County, which is also trash.
I can't think of it. It's like not
Coda de Casa.
Coda de Casa. Oh my God, yeah, it is. I wouldn't even want to.
No.
That's
I
so
just
funny.
mean the premise of that. You can't go to a gated community, but in New York, you can go to Park. We can go to Park Avenue.
Oh my God, that guy's eating a twist.
Oof.
Twirl. I think it's interesting because maybe now with social media versus how it was when it first.
No social media. Instagram was not even
a thing. It wasn't even a thing. So now you can see. You could look back on Sai. Okay, from New Roni. She's been an influencer for I don't know how long, but you can go back, trail back.
You can get a peek into behind the scenes.
The scenes of her life. Yeah, right. You don't need that as a
storyline.
Which I kind of like.
That storyline does only carry for 1 year, though, right? It can only carry for that first year.
I love that, though.
Because even the second year, I guess they introduced Kelly Ben-Simone, and you got a glimpse into her life, which was different than other people's on the show. But she was a supermodel, and
and I think what's what people really kind of almost want now, but will never be able to get, is to be able to look into the lives of like someone who's like in the royal family, of somewhere you really can't get behind those gates. But I don't.
Right. They're not making. I don't think Andy Cohen's. I mean, he's probably calling, but I don't. Actually, Meghan Markle will probably answer his call.
Maybe she will be now, because didn't her other thing get canceled?
I think she's been canceled. Yeah.
But
if you don't have talent, you don't have talent.
Social media has definitely kind of lifted the veil on people's lives.
Right.
And also shown the people that are really sort of like hungry for that attention already. They're already all over Instagram.
Both mouths.
The beast of like, you know, she wants probably more contracts.
Totally. But it's so funny. No one got, that was what's so impressive about Bethany, is that she did what she did and built her company off the back of Roni, for sure.
Yeah, for
100%,
sure.
but without social media.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Do you know how hard that must have been to parlay? Like right now, it's easy if we are on a show like that and we understand economics and we understand the business opportunity. It is very easy to parlay that into a brand. It wasn't when she did it, because there was no social media.
She has
like once the cameras were down, you weren't looking at Bethany Frankel every day all the time.
Right.
Now we are, but like is that because of social
she's
media?
She's a shark.
That Capricorn
moon.
Like us.
She's like us. She's a fighter. She's a hustler, man. She really is. But that's not gonna make her friends, and you know, that will always have her she's very
I mean, she says she doesn't have friends, or she has maybe the same friends from like her entire life, but it's like two.
Right, because friends aren't going to pay the bills.
Correct. No.
Unfortunately,
I think Jill's Aaron did pay some bills.
But I'm sort of like, you know, I think I do know where she's coming from on that. I think she's pretty down to earth in a weird way that also Kyle still has.
But like my point is like she did it without social media.
Totally.
And I think that is just so impressive, because today, if she were to do it all over again, do it today, she would have gotten where she is now a lot faster.
Think about that, but think about Shannon Bedore and those frozen meals. She came from money. She's got money. She's had Housewives to catapult her.
Yep. And
she cannot. I don't think she.
Oh, she didn't.
Well, I think she's tried to parlay it, but I don't think
no one's going to be a company that sells to Jim Beam. You know what I mean? For $120 million. That's a moonshot. That's a once in a lifetime million opportunity.
Totally.
But I think she's still making something. She didn't have to.
Right.
But she is. She's making diet meals. What is it? And she's not very little. That's not good branding.
Yeah, she needed to be skinny AF, and then everyone like, oh, I'll eat all of these frozen meals.
Teresa did it too. Teresa actually.
Oh my God! Did I send you this video
of her? As she appears.
Did I send you this video of Teresa? She had.
With
she's
Brussels?
trying to put on a foundation with a makeup brush, and she says, "Look at how great this looks. It looks so great because the Brussels, not the bristles of the brush, are so."
If she was smart, how much even more successful she would have been, because she did create that brand of ridiculous cookbooks, right? She has some brand, like she did some stuff. She's made she has maximized her earning potential on that show.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
She went to jail.
She came out looking okay.
She came back.
Yeah. Oh my God. Side note. Also, there was, Chris Lee Knows Best.
Yeah, they're all in jail.
The dad and the mom are in prison for tax evasion.
But they're in prison for 10 years.
19 shared.
19 shared. Oh yeah, so 10 each,
shared.
Right?
So the daughter and the son are really upset, which I honestly 100% all seriousness, I don't like the prison conditions.
Okay.
That there's no air conditioning and that there's snakes in the cells.
Where
and I'm
are
like,
they?
well,
where are they?
I don't know. Somewhere where it's hot.
Like they're in Texas or something, probably.
Yeah, probably. And I get it. It has to be very upsetting.
There should be some humanity in how we treat
Of
people.
course. I think air conditioning, I think that should be a given.
In Texas? 100%.
Honestly, anywhere in the country.
This is the hottest month ever in the history of the world.
Because prisoners do die from the heat in the prisons. This happens. But I think it's interesting to try to come on to social media.
It's hard to gain much sympathy for his parents in particular.
Yeah, it's a very interesting.
But he is right.
Of being upset about the conditions.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think he is going to get the reaction that he is either hoping for or expecting. But he is right.
They were extremely fame-seeking.
Correct.
And I think you get yourself into it's a slippery slope.
We should actually look at kind of like astrology and money. Because there are some people. Oh my God.
He's in a Florida prison.
Oh, the humidity.
That's honestly, that is huge. Like Florida, like.
Todd Crisley, Sunshine State Federal Prison Camp in Pensacola.
It sounds pleasant, though.
A sunshine camp.
Sounds like a summer camp.
Sunshine State.
I'd go there for summer camp.
I think it is.
Well, I
think it's inhumane not to have air conditioning. I'm sorry. I know. I read all the comments on like reality blurb on it. They're like, oh my God, a lot of people don't have air conditioning. That's not like, I get it. True,
but
I think that's the least that you can do. Do I think that you shouldn't have snakes or mice in your cells? I don't know about that.
Yeah.
That's a hard sell.
You could have a $2 million home in an island in Maine, and you're gonna have mice.
Mice and snakes. Yeah. So it's a hard sell for me. I think you should have at least like a nice temperature, living temperature. Should not be dying. And I also think that the meals
from your conditions,
right? The meals that you're eating should be
5-star.
Not 5-star. Not 5-star. They should be like human grade beef. But it's interesting.
These people are so people.
When you of course. Like, but it's weird when now I'm like, oh, now I'm thinking about these people but also like it's very money seeking, fame seeking family, and now they're upset by no air conditioning and mice. I'm like,
it doesn't land well. It just doesn't land well. And again, like the tone deafness of these people once they're on these shows is amazing. It's fun to watch.
They think it's like Bill Gates.
But it's
I'm like, I don't know if like did you invent something? Have you like what did you do? All you did is actually steal.
Right. And by the way, maybe they would have air conditioning if they paid their income tax.
Be like sorry to like state the obvious, but I'm like, I know you're hot and I know there's a mouse, but like wait, like
pay your taxes.
Don't like just there's not everybody's got to be perfect, but
yeah, no, I'm just being glib. I am.
I
totally agree.
I am. It's just interesting that it's also the same thing with Teresa. You said this, and I thought about Teresa and her going to jail. And
well, I was gonna say like it'd be fun to look into like the money correlation in astrology because like you have a money house, right? Mm-hmm. And there are some people who were rich going onto the shows and have stayed rich. Right? They just Jill Zarin. Yeah. Right? She's not gonna have money problems. She doesn't have money problems.
She married rich.
But she didn't have money problems. But that's a skill in itself. She didn't have money problems going in. She didn't have money problems on it. She doesn't have money problems now. But you have these some people like Kim Zolciak or whatever, right? Who didn't have a dollar to her name, but wanted the fame and the whatever, and so she begged, borrowed, and stole probably.
100%.
Right? She had a sugar daddy who was affording her a lifestyle that she herself could not afford. Or Big Papa.
Big Papa. Ooh, I like Big Daddy. I like Big Daddy, but Big Papa's.
You guys like Boop. But and then they just keep getting into. Then nothing becomes enough. Right? So she gets in debt to go on the show. The show doesn't get her as rich as she wants, but she wants to keep up the illusion.
Her spending. It's enough. It's enough,
right,
but her spending is...
But that's how her spending is what keeps up the illusion that she belongs in a $3 million home when she makes $5 a year. You know what I mean? And, surprise, your house is in foreclosure.
Right. I just read
so
that.
many housewives get caught up in that cycle.
Well, it's keeping up with the Joneses.
Right. But I wonder if there's an astrology, if there's a relation
Of course,
there.
there.
What's the money house?
The money house is a second house. It's a Taurus house. Kim Zolciak is a Taurus. So Taurus, they love to live lavish and they
like to be comfortable.
Like to be
They
comfortable.
like to eat good food.
Love to eat all the sensory things. So yeah, she
the
had
best
to have
photo though of Housewives was her driving in a car with a beer and a cigarette in a convertible. Do you know?
listening to her music.
Listening to her awful single.
And her wigs, they cost. She was spending more than she was earning. She was spending
a lot.
I know.
And it's to give us the illusion that
and none
she
of us
has money.
Also, you can rent all that stuff too.
Well, that's also the giveaway. Whereas a lot of the people were renting their homes.
Her daughter, she's just trying to sell one of her daughter's handbags for $25,000. She spent $25,000. It was on a Louis. She's trying to sell it through her Instagram stories.
Wait, what?
What, Brielle?
The kid is, or the mom is?
The mom is trying to sell one of Brielle's purses off of Instagram stories.
Isn't it Brielle's?
Not no more. Because I'm sure she bought it for her daughter, and then she took it from the daughter, and she needs money to make those payments, those monthly payments.
Payments to what at this point? She's homeless.
I don't know the details on this, so I can't speak. But all I know is that she needs to make some sort of. I mean, there's some. Like she's in debt,
Okay.
and she's
there
probably
is a way to get out of debt though, to get a job.
I think
selling your daughter's hand-me-down purse on Instagram Live
is the easy way.
Is it though? Did she sell it? Was it an auction?
Well,
Let's go bid on it.
Oh my God! I'll be like, I'll give you 5 cents.
Right. Exactly. Let's see how cheap we can get
Those things don't retain their value unless they're pristine, like never been used, like still in the same bag,
it has cigarette
or like
stains
satin bag in the box.
Right. Because yes, you can either buy purses like cars for appreciation or not.
You buy that purse and you put it in storage.
Correct. You never look at it. In 20 years, you sell it for double.
Right. You don't use it and put lip gloss and joints in there.
Yeah,
and
that's a utility.
No, I think that there is definitely maybe that's systemic or systemic, I'm sorry, of
poverty?
No, of trying to maintain an illusion.
Appearances, correct. But it's exacerbated because she's on TV. I'm sure she would always be like that a little bit, right?
Right, but you need a new outfit for every this, that, the other thing. You don't need a new bag.
Right.
You don't need a new...
And I think actually a lot of the audience also believes in the illusion, right? Until something comes out that they can't afford XYZ or their home is in foreclosure. But I would be shocked today if Lisa Vanderpump filed bankruptcy tomorrow, right? Or I'd be shocked tomorrow, right? Because she has
created this illusion of great
for her,
wealth.
It's not really an illusion. She's just showing her life, which is of great wealth.
Right.
And if you're a housewife, you're now kind of competing with her, who's worth $90 million.
They're putting some of these people in the pool of someone who has.
Remember that? What was her name? Lynn on Orange County.
Oh my God! And she got evicted.
Her daughters were served eviction.
That's so upsetting. Even thinking about that.
And her husband just completely lied to her about having a job. What was
I
it?
Can't
it
even.
He
can't even
didn't go to
myself.
work. And somehow she just thought they had money and they had no money and it was all on credit cards and she thought they owned their home and they didn't. She thought they owned their cars and they didn't.
How do you even rebound from that?
Also, full circle, Taylor Armstrong's husband. That's why he killed himself.
Because he couldn't live up to the pressure of
I
maintaining
mean, that's a theory.
the image.
It's a theory.
100%.
But he, I think, talked about it a little bit before he died.
Well,
he was keeping up with people making millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, it was already established too. It was already established money.
Right. The Hiltons, and he was already unlikable. So the only thing he could bring to the table was
he was
money.
so unlikable because he was so worried about making.
Right. But so, I mean, if you're unlikable in that situation, the only thing you can bring to the table is affording your spouse a really lavish lifestyle to be on that show. And he could do it for a year.
And then he was like,
and he just couldn't do it. Right. That's a lot of pressure.
When people are saying that marriages are like
and she's a Gemini, right? Or is she a Taurus?
No, she's a Gemini.
Right.
I don't know what he was. God, remember. Oh, his personality. Blah. Poor Taylor in that situation.
And that daughter? What's her daughter's name? Kennedy?
Yeah. I mean,
she was also ludicrous. Remember that $60,000 birthday party for her 2-year-old?
I mean, I think that probably Kyle has had those white parties that she had. They were up there.
But she was doing it before the show.
Yeah.
And so, I mean,
that extravagant though?
Right. If you look at the first season, it wasn't as extravagant as it is now. Now it's
it was like
ridiculous.
a DJ and like
Coachella after party.
There's like ponies and stuff. You're like, what?
Right. Like they only get like white tigers and like it's insane. But they were still doing the parties. Also, yes, she was a poor housewife. They were still doing all right. You know what I mean? Like they could still afford a party. Remember they had that really large party planner?
I don't, but that's fun. I remember
it was on a budget. It was on a budget. Now it's, she gets the best PR firm, event planning company to do it because she's worth a lot of money now. But before she wasn't living up to anything. She was also
it's kind of like high school.
But her husband also
all
worked
of
for
this
the
like
Hilton.
high school. It's
totally.
like you have to have
if
the right
get the
bag.
New jeans, I want the new jeans.
Yeah, you have to have the right car. You have to have the husband
all of
has
life,
to be.
Unfortunately, is high school.
It's so true.
It's like
it's a microcosm.
Yes,
and I think that's probably what speaks to people so much about Bravo is that they can watch that franchise and they can liken it to their family, to their friends, their neighborhood.
They can relate to everyone. Even I have a friend who swears off all of those shows, doesn't watch things are so silly, whatever. I made him watch
Jamie.
The first season of Roni. He thought it was so ridiculous, but he was like, I kind of like that Luann. He was like, I can identify with her. And I was like, yes, like you can identify. Everyone can identify with somebody.
Yeah, and I think that even though it's mindless and there are people that are like, what's scripted, what's not, what's led, what's not. If you just take it for what it is, it still speaks to... it's better than I know my mother loves like The Young and the Restless, like the old soap operas of the day. That does not resonate. There's something that needs to be real. I need to know what car you drive. I want to know what outfit you're wearing. I want to know what your husband actually really does.
I think when you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, you're not really, those things aren't really yours, but we think they are.
But I need to know just what
you know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah, of course.
Like Kim should be driving a Chevy Impala. No disrespect to Chevy, but you know what I'm saying? Instead, she drives a G-Wagon or something ridiculous.
And is it real?
Right. But it's not hers. She doesn't. It's all kind of come out. A lot of stuff that sometimes they don't even rent. They just borrow from friends. Like the car in particular. Is that crazy? Not that couple, just people on those shows. I think,
though, if you lean into it as opposed to lean away from it.
That's why Bethany's so good.
Is if you lean into it, it is entertaining.
Oh, as an audience member. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. This isn't, going to win anything at, the Venice Film Festival.
No.
Or like Sundance. It's just fun.
It's like sports
it's not
for
so
men.
Serious.
It's
Why
like
be so serious?
It's like sports for men. You're like, oh my God. It's like, they all talk about the dramas between the players. And I'm like, whatever.
A lot of straight men, once they start watching it, actually really like it.
Because it's
silly.
It's silly. And
you get invested.
I know.
You have your favorite people.
And you want to see some of them.
And you want to see them fall.
And suffer.
And succeed.
And I think that that's probably what is being rejuvenated with the new Roni is it's a new cast of drama and
it's just a new show.
It's new drama. It's new failures. It's new successes. It's new drama. It's new personalities to try to get into. or like try to understand.
But we haven't been confronted with this since the first season of every other show. So the last time we met an entire cast was the first seasons of all those shows, which were all now
Let's
20
ask Jamie.
years ago.
Jamie, what was the first year of Housewives? What would we say? It was 15 years ago?
What's the show called?
6. Orange County. So Real Housewives of Orange
County. What was the first year?
I'd say 2006. Because the OC had just kind of come out. Laguna Beach had just kind of come out. Right?
I would say 10.
No.
Oh, yeah, maybe not.
2006.
Oh, man.
I love to be right.
2006.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
almost
just trying to
20 years of a franchise.
Yeah, are they in their 19th season? 17th season?
Or there has been 17.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's made a lot of people a lot of money.
Right. And so they say this is trash, it's not good TV, it's so whatever. What sitcom was on for 17 years?
Probably like the X-Files.
No. I've had nothing. Only soap operas. Only soap operas.
How long was the X-Files on?
I'd say 10. This is a good show.
I was like, that's
and
the
also,
only one.
now
it's like
it
always
should
on
actually
for
come back
so
now
long,
that there are
and I was like,
aliens.
why is the X-Files still on?
It was 11 seasons.
Which is a long run.
Ooh, it is a long run.
That's
I was
long
always
run.
like, it's
Friends
still going
was
on.
10 season. That's a long run. I think Seinfeld was up
Still
there.
half. These are all still only half. It's a half of the Housewives.
But soap operas, they're on for like 60.
Oh my God. It's like
Young and the Restless. It was Young in 1940.
70s.
Right. It's crazy.
I have to pee.
I think we're...
Want to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
See ya.
Bye.